But today, I'm the great. But today, I'm the greatest of all time. Thank you.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top.
Yo, no, I ain't the type to give up. If I do something, man, I do it till I get what I want. I turn a business out of nothing into something I love. I got a poker face, but honestly, I'm not one to bluff. I flip a switch, never miss, man, I always stay up. Don't let them see you, always have a plan to stay tough. This life ahead of you ain't easy, it was built to be rough. But that's what makes a personality, is tragedy, bruh. So keep your head on your shoulders. Now we ain't out here moving rocks, we out here moving boulders. Now we ain't getting posterized, we out here making posters. And we ain't got nothing to hide, we move forward like soldiers. You better wake up for the pay stub, or you'll pay up. Don't make love to the game, bruh, fuck the game up. Change up, rearrange stuff to your greatness. Famous for the way up, play the game, bruh.
Never stop, I'll get it if I want it. Gotta make to myself a promise. I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top, yeah.
You know I'm always honest, there ain't no way I'll never stop it.
I won't quit, keep going till I got it. I won't give up till I'm on top,
I'm always flirting with pain, she like to hurt me and maim. I'm always working to change, but she's still lurking the same. I keep on building a dynasty while the haters be trying me, but they hate from inside.
All right, what's going on, everyone? Welcome to another episode here of Unscripted, live, of course, on the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network. Of course, you can always check us out every single week, Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, Twitch, and, of course, on LinkedIn as well. Go over there, follow us, and be sure to give us some love over there. We're putting out some good work. Today, we're going to be talking about bad single-season performances, bad players, teams, coaches. You think of summer, you think of spring, you think of, being outside in the nice warm weather, hot dogs, hamburgers cooking on the grill, nice brew in hand, perhaps. Well, these guys need a lot of that because they were not having a good spring/summer for their teams in terms of baseball. Help me out today talking about these unfortunate performances is my guy, Jay McLove. What's going on, Jay?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. And there's a lot of crazy stuff when we talk about worst single-season performances. So it's going to be a lot of fun to talk about this today.
Yeah, and like you said, there's a lot. Baseball's been around for a very, very long time. So there's a lot of history there, a lot of good players, and today we're going to look at the not-so-good side. So, but Jay, the first team that came to my mind, and everyone knows I'm a little bit younger, when you think of, we'll start with teams first, right? We'll go with teams. My immediately thought, and you know where I'm going with this, those Houston Astro teams in late 2000s, early 2010s, back had the sand, like a little sand star logo and stuff. Mm-hmm. Boy, those teams were rough to watch. They were getting consistent 100-loss seasons.
Oh yeah,
and it was y'all were the laughing stock of baseball for many years. I mean, it went on for a while, but ultimately, you saw the end of the rainbow. You saw it out and got a couple of championships out of it in the last couple of years and drafted really well. Obviously, that was the big thing, with y'all. But yeah, my immediate thought was those Astros teams of the mid to late 2000s, 2010s, and also you remember, Jay, that Tigers team from I think 03, 04, 02, 03.
I do.
They went 43 and 119. And look, just because we're in the current day, the White Sox of today, the Chicago White Sox at this time, as the time we are recording this, have a record of 17-50, which not the All-Star break, probably won't be the worst of all time, but it's going to be in some lists probably if they don't pick up some slack. So, yeah, those are just a couple of teams I immediately thought of. We started researching this topic of just worst single-season performances for teams, players, coaches, whatever. So what do you have? Do you have any teams that you were looking at and researched and you just thought, my God, how this team just couldn't win?
Yeah, so the MLB, as we know, has been around for quite some time now. Obviously, the National League kind of got everything kick-started
Yep.
Back those days. In the 1800s, the National League was about a 12-team league. And what was interesting to me, so when we're talking about the worst single season, if you're talking about a team, then, we have to look at all of history, right? So the Cleveland Spiders in 1899 were the worst team ever in baseball. They were
all
20,
time.
Yes, they were 20 and 134. Now, Logan, that comes out to be a .130 average.
Oh my
God!
Now, didn't even get to a 2.
Yes, and put that in perspective. There wasn't 162 games back then. If you wanted to look at it, what that average would equate to today, it would have been 21 and 141. Just to let you know how bad that Cleveland Spiders team actually was back in that time period. If you want to look at, single season, or if you look at a person's worst, then you got to go back to 1883, and it was pitcher John Coleman, who had 48 losses. Pitch, and then of course, then you got Will White, who also had 42 losses in 1880. Now, that's back in those days. If you want to fast forward a little bit to current modern day times, Logan, and you want to go back and talk about those Astros you were talking about, then that would have been Jason Jennings for the Astros on July 29th of 2007. Logan, get this. This is how bad it was back in those days. You're talking about how bad and how laughing stock the Astros were during that time period. Jason Jennings on July 29th of 2007 went 2/3 of an inning, Logan. Just 2/3. Not even a full inning, just 2/3. And he gave up 8 hits, 3 walks, and 11 earned runs. Yeah. All that in 2/3 of an inning. Could you imagine how long that 2/3 was?
Oh, that probably took forever.
Oh my Lord.
And also the fact they didn't pull them. It took that long for them to pull them.
Yeah. Like, what was that guy thinking? Yeah. But I really believe that was a time period, like you said, Logan. And we all know. I mean, the Astros even told you that. Matter of fact, they kind of did away with that, or they made it they're trying to make an effort where you can't do that. Where they were, I don't know they were necessarily tanking, but they were kind of tanking. You don't leave a guy in for 2/3 with 11 earned runs. You're not pulling him sooner than that. I mean, it just makes no sense.
You're not trying to tank at that point, I think. That's rough. I mean, let's talk about the guy on the screen here. Poor Chris Davis, Jay. This guy.
Remember how lightning hot he came out and then just fizzled?
Yeah, so when I'm looking at his career, right? I mean, he didn't do a whole lot for a couple of years, from 2008 to about 2011. He was with Texas. Didn't do really much of nothing. You wouldn't have known who he was. Right. I mean, he had a good rookie season. Good rookie sophomore year, but then from 2010 to like 2011, 2012, just kind of okay. 2012 got it going, 33 home runs. As we know, he got 53 in 2013, 47 in 2015. So he was rolling. He was striking out a ton, but he was hitting home runs, so he didn't really care. Yeah. But Jay, then something happened. Then in 2018 and 2019, you can also maybe throw 2017. But I'm mainly putting those 2 years in there because in 2018, he had 16 home runs, 49 RBIs, 41 walks, 192 strikeouts. And it's not like he didn't play. He played in 128 games. He had 522 at-bats that season. All for a whopping average, Jay, of 168. 168. He followed it up in 2019, not a whole lot better. Batting average of 179, 139 strikeouts, 36 RBIs. And compare that to 139 walks, only had 12 home runs, played in 105 games. So that was effectively the end of his career. Right. He stopped hitting home runs as much. His batting average dipped like extremely rough because he hit 266 in 2011, 270, 286. Had an off year in 2014, you could say, batted 196 in 127 games. They came back, he hit 262, and that was really his last good year in terms of average. He had 221, 215. Then, as I mentioned, the 168, 173, or 179.
Right.
But yeah, man, it's just one of those guys who you saw had a really good, hot stretch, really good peak. And then, like we see for a lot of guys, just kind of come crumbling back to earth. I understand he was hurt. He got hurt a little bit, but, they gave him that giant contract as well because that was when Baltimore was still trying to struggle and make a name for themselves in the AL East. And he was, arguably their best player for a little while. But, yeah, they gave him that big deal, said, all right, buddy, you're going to lead us to the promised land. And he did not. That was a broken promise. It did not go out very well for Chris Davis in terms of his
Logan,
single-season performance.
Since we're on the topic of Chris Davis and the Orioles, or really just the Orioles specifically, the longest losing streak is by them, and it was in 1988. Okay. Do you know how long that losing streak went for?
In 1988, you said, correct?
Yes, 1988.
I'll go 27 games.
Not too far off. 21.
Okay. All right, not
21
bad.
Consecutive games is the longest losing streak in a season.
They lost for 3 consecutive weeks.
Bro, you know how bad that is to lose that long? I mean, I don't even know if the A's were that bad, and the A's have been pretty damn bad, throughout the majority of their. Matter of fact, I think, outside the Cleveland Spiders of 1899.
Yeah.
I think you got to put the A's in there. It's probably the worst damn losing franchise ever. I think every damn season, it is a worse.
We'll see. I don't know. I think I might have a team. I might have 2 teams in their expansion teams who might have a run for their money soon. And that's the Marlins and the Rockies.
Yeah.
I mean,
yeah.
Beside, the Rockies, they went to the World Series in 2007, I know. But I mean, in the last 15 years, what the heck have they done? Who have they had on their who have they really had on their team who was a breakout star, who was a guy who was going to help them out? It was Trevor Story for the longest. Then he kept getting hurt.
I mean, the only real true Rocky that really stands out in my mind was Helton.
Yeah. Todd Helton, and I would say even Matt Holliday, but he wasn't a lifer by any means necessary. Yeah. Troy Tulowitzki, he was, I consider, a good Rocky. But, yeah, that team, Jay, when you just talk about, forget single seasons, just overall, they only made the pennant once.
Right.
But, Jay, they have never. And they are 31 years into their franchise existence. 31 years, because it ain't looking like it's going to happen. They have not once won a division title. They've never been NL West champs in 31 seasons. They're not looking much better this year. They're 23-41. So once again, Jay, they're going to be at that number 1 pick probably. You're right around it. But yeah, no, that team, the Marlins also, they, I understand they got 2 World Series, but that's been 25 years almost, 20 plus years.
Oh yeah.
So they're also,
Logan, when we're talking about, worst seasons and things of that nature, did you know there's a 1961 expansion that there are 91 teams, Logan? I didn't know it was this high. There are 91 teams that have lost 100 or more games in a season.
Ooh, okay.
91 teams. I never really thought it was that big of a thing to lose 100 games, that many teams. But yeah, 91 different, teams. Not that there's 91 teams in baseball, but just different years of those teams, But 91, right. Yeah, there have been 91 seasons with 100 or plus in the history of MLB. And a lot of it, or a good portion of it was back in those early days,
Yeah.
Of course, Astros, we obviously attributed 3 out of the 91. So
yeah, right.
Not a good one for us, but
yeah, I mean, when you look at, teams go through up and down spells for the most part, I mean, the Braves were bad for a little while in the 2010s, I would say mid to late-ish. Astros, we said, have had rough patches. The Yankees have had rough patches. I mean, I just finished up their documentary about them in the 90s. They weren't doing much, Jay. In the early 90s, I should say, they weren't doing a whole lot. So that's the difference in teams. And some teams, owners, I should say, they want to build their team up and be good. We've seen the Yankees win championships, the Astros, the Braves, all the teams we like here on the show. But some, like we said, the Rockies, Marlins, Diamondbacks, for the most part, what I'm saying? Just teams the Pirates, teams who haven't won much in forever. Oakland. I mean, the list goes on. And that's the difference in teams. But I want to look at fielding stats, Jade, because I found this one. And we're going back. You were mentioning the 1800s. I'll give my own stat here about the 1800s. I want you to know about a guy named Herman Long. Now, Herman, Jay, he was indeed in the field. Was he doing much? You tell me, Jay. Herman Long in 1889. You want to take a guess how many errors this man committed?
I'm going to say, and I'm just going to throw it out, a random number out there. I'm going to cut it at 10.
Oh, Jay, you are.
And we're talking about a single game, right? How many?
No. Sorry. Single season.
Oh, a single season. Okay.
Single season.
So, how many games was back then again? Was it like 80 something or less?
It was not the full 162. I can tell you that much.
Right. So I'm gonna go. I'm gonna say 71.
Not too far off. He committed 122 errors in 1889. Oh, wow. And Jay, he has the all-time record for most errors in a career, which might be more than teams commit in a whole season. He had 1,096 errors in his career. 1,000.
Holy cow!
96.
Man, that guy's he's like a literal error.
Yeah, and you can't have that anymore. You cannot have that anymore.
Right.
I mean, guys nowadays, right? I found semi-recent stats, right? Let's go 2023, right? The leaders in terms of errors. We'll just go to American League. That's what I got pulled up here. The leaders were Javier Baez and Rafael Devers. They each had 19. This guy had 122 in one season.
God.
So, yeah, that guy you might not have even put him out in the field with anything. He was just going with his hand. I mean, they practically were back then anyways, but I don't know how you're just that. You don't have any hand-eye coordination. That's all it is. Yeah. Also, you're muted here.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Come on.
And I thought, and I really thought Jason Jennings 2/3 of an inning was,
that's a rough
bad. But that's pretty. I don't know, man. They're like right up there with each other, No,
yeah,
that was just bad all year. I think Jason just had one bad, but I think that was pretty much a career ender for him. Even that 2/3, I think, was just done for him.
So we'll keep going old, right? We'll keep going old school, and I have to bring this guy up. Mario Mendoza, Jay. Does that name sound familiar to you?
It does.
Well, let me tell you why.
It does.
The last name Mendoza is a popular term used in baseball to describe a batting average below 200.
Oh, wow.
As you can imagine, Mario Mendoza is said Mendoza in the Mendoza line term. Now, if you have something named after you, Jay, most of the time it's good. This time it isn't.
Yeah, if you're pulling a Mendoza, I mean, that's horrible.
Mendoza played from 1974 to 1982. Nice, little 8-year career. Good on defense, right? But his career batting average, when all was said and done, was .215. And with that being said, that's how the term Mendoza line was formed. I learned that today. But yeah, that was rough.
That's interesting to me though, because when you look at a guy like what was our who's our catcher? Maldonado. When you look at an amateur catcher like Maldonado, he never really posted above 200.
And Jay, he is actually getting traction on social media for how bad he is. because the White Sox have to send someone to the All-Star game this year, and Maldonado is batting like .75. Like it is abysmal numbers.
Yeah, and I think it's just because really, Maldonado, and I don't know if he's just hanging on to a career that really should have kind of come to an end. The thing that makes Maldonado, why people are so intrigued by Maldonado and kind of what sometimes can overcome that crappy batting average to a certain point is just, how good he is at calling games and how good he is at developing and working with pitchers. That's really the focal point of why he's still in the league.
That's it.
That's it.
And, yeah, Jay, I can tell you why his bat's not keeping him in the league. So through 35 games this season, 99 at bats, so he's not an everyday player. I mean, he was 37.
Yeah.
His batting average is 71. Not 171, just 71.
Jeez.
He's got 39 strikeouts. He's got a total of 7 hits in 99 at bats. 1 home run, 4 RBIs, 6 walks, 39 strike. We might be talking about him in a later episode in terms of worst single season performances. He might be there.
Yeah.
If he keeps going this way.
Yeah, if that doesn't improve, then he's definitely going to make that list. And and the more I think about it, I'm kind of glad that the Astros, I guess, we parted ways when we did, because we really had to let him go. We needed more offensive help, and Yanni and Diaz has really kind of stepped into that role real nice. But I ain't gonna lie to you though, man. Our pitching has suffered though. Because of number one, because of injuries, but number two, because of Maldonado's experience isn't there anymore. And now we're depending on the young Diaz to. So we are kind of feeling his presence on that end of the stick. But man, talk about that's crazy though. 76 batting average.
Yeah. Well, who else do you have on your list, man? Who else do you want to talk about?
Oh man, honestly, I think that's about all that I would. Oh, well, and that's the thing. Okay, let's talk about. I know we were talking about this pre-show. Let's talk about this for a second. When you start looking at all these things, about MLB, the good, the bad, the ugly, the whole nine. I mean, it's just a slew of everything. But I wanted to see, now that we've integrated the stats of the Negro League in with the MLB, I wanted to kind of go back into that particular portion of the league and see what was the worst. And Logan, I couldn't find hardly a damn thing. It's like they gave us all the good stats and all that, but when you go back to look at all the bad stats, I could not dig up really anything.
Huh? Yeah, I'm about to say that's something we got to dig for.
Yeah,
I know it's out there somewhere. We got to dig. We got to find it might be in some books. It might be on the Negro League website or something like that. But we got to dig for it. But
I think that might be for a future up and coming show.
Yeah, I'm about to say. Well,
and it's not like we're trying to point out anything bad about the Negro League. No. We look at everything about baseball. The good, the bad, the ugly, the whole 9 yards.
Like I said, we're looking at guys who played in the 1880s. For God's sake, we want all sides of this. And I'll go 2 or 3 more here. And I'll give back to you. Steve Jeltz, Jay. Steve Jeltz. And just looking at his career, from 83 to 90, finished with batting averages around 210. But the thing that I thought was pretty remarkable, in 1,700 at bats, which is quite a bit, he only had 5 home runs in 1,700 at bats. Definitely a leadoff guy, second hole hitter. Maybe not nowadays, because even guys in the leadoff hole are hitting home runs like that. But yeah, only 5 home runs in 1,700 at bats. And I got to go to the pitchers. Kevin Jarvis, man who played 94 to 06. I don't know how he stayed in the league this long, Jay. In 780 innings, his ERA was 6.03. I don't know how you have a 6 ERA and you're in the league for that long.
Well, you know what? Hey, it's crazy. I forget what year it was, but there was one season at Oakland history where they were averaging as a team average for ERA was 6.86.
Oh God, yeah, that's
how bad the A's were.
Yeah. And that's awful. That's awful. And I'll throw one more out here, and I'll let you wrap things up with all the ones you got left. But as you mentioned Maldonado with your team, right? I got to throw my team under the bus in terms of a player who had a god-awful season. Probably the worst one I've ever seen him throughout my lifetime in 26 years on this planet. I'm going to go back, Jay, about 10 years to 2013. We had a guy in the outfield by the name of B.J. Upton, well-known guy, had a really good start to his career, then kind of, faltered out.
Yeah.
In 2013, Jay, that was one of the worst seasons I've ever seen, personally, with my own eyes. He had 184 was his batting average. He only had 9 home runs, 151 strikeouts, and 126 games. That 2014 wasn't a whole lot better. He hit 208. But that 2013 season, Jay, I remember he would come up to the plate. I'm like, all right, well, time for literally like you would joke with your friends playing baseball. All right, easy out, infield up. Who's up next? We're not worried about this guy. That's how it was for that season for him, man. Because you just knew it. It had to be the stars were aligned that day for him to get on base, to get a home run or something. And it didn't happen very often. So that was probably the worst season I've ever seen as a player with my own eyes for batting. That was awful. But if you got anyone else on the list, now is the time to bring them up with the last couple minutes we got left here on the show.
Yeah, I just really have 3 things I wanted to say. The first thing I wanted to say was, the 2022 Reds. We were talking about the White Sox and where they're heading, which, by the way, they are on track.
They're heading low.
Like they're 3-22 in their first 25 games. You know who else was 3-22 in the first 25 games? The 2022 Reds. And they finished up at 62-100 for the season. So it's going to be interesting to see if the White Sox make the Reds look great. Number one. Number two is, do you know, Logan, what? And this is just a change of subject, but just a quick baseball trivia question. Do you know what the rarest play in baseball is?
Triple play.
What kind of triple play?
Oh, what kind? Oh,
what
God.
Kind?
I'll go with I don't know the number on the top of my head, but the pitcher catches it, throws it home, and then throws it to third base or something like that.
Okay, you're going a little too far into it, but it's the unassisted.
Oh, okay, I got you. Yeah,
it's only happened I think once in the 1800s, maybe once or twice in MLB. But the unassisted triple play, it never happens. It hardly ever happens. But the probability of it would be incredibly low or high. But yeah, so the unassisted triple play is the rarest play in baseball. I just thought I should throw that out there. The last thing I want to throw out there, and then Logan, I'll let you close us out, is I just want to give a shout out real quick. Hey guys, upcoming soon to the Elite Sports and Entertainment Network, we will be having a show debut. It's called Whiskey Hour. It's going to be a gentleman's conversation show. It'll be sports, fashion, anything you could think of. We'll be talking about it over some whiskey, and it should be a lot of fun. And that will be debuting here real soon. You'll be able to catch us out on all the platforms, but primarily the biggest one will be on YouTube. And then you can catch our teasers throughout the weeks on Instagram and TikTok. So that'll be coming up here pretty soon.
Yeah, we're looking forward to it, man. Excited to for you and Phil to get work, chatting up about just whatever's going on in life. So that's going to be fun. Like I said, coming soon. Don't have a date set at this moment, but the way that you find out about what day that show is going to premiere is that's why you follow us on your social media platforms. You see LinkedIn. We also got Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, and Twitch main platforms over there. And you can get all the updates about all of our shows here on the network. Of course, Unscripted, we go live every single week. We also have some great other shows as well. Truth Be Told Sports Podcast, Original Sports Podcast. And like Jay said, we got the Whiskey Hour coming very, very soon, as well as some other tricks up our sleeve that you'll just have to wait, stay tuned, and find out more about. It's going to be fun here. Of course, with the summer and spring, it's going to be fun. People are going to be going on vacations. Jay's going to be barbecuing, so it's going to be a good time. And we're looking forward to staying here all summer long, helping y'all out, and talking some sports, entertainment, fashion, music, movies, you name it. We'll be covering it here on the channel. For Jay McLaughlin, I've been your host and producer, Logan Landers. Guys, we'll talk to you again on another live episode. We'll see you later.